Twitch presents on this a very special Doctor Who marathon where we're going to go through and watch back to back the first 7 Doctors. Now, myself, I am not a Doctor Who expert, but fortunately, Matt, you are the biggest Doctor Who expert in the world that I know.
Right.
But maybe you know some even more experting Doctor Who experts.
I do.
Can you introduce us?
They are here today to help you learn about Doctor Who. So we have, from the Time Ladies and Doctor Who magazine's Time team, is Beth.
Hello.
We have Tom Spilsbury, former editor for Doctor Who magazine.
Hello.
And we have Paul Cornell, writer for Doctor Who.
Hello.
Doctor Who, the question that demands to be answered.
Right, if I asked you about who is the Doctor, what would you say?
He is a time-travelling gentleman who, or gentle lady now, who tries to help people out.
Right.
And if he sees a Dalek, kick him in there. Oh, they haven't got balls. Well, they do. Kick him in these.
Kick him in the hemispheres.
In the hemispheres, yeah, exactly.
So, the Doctor, as we know now, he's a hero. Or she is now. She's a hero, wants to help people. The Doctor here, very different kettle of fish.
Really?
It takes about a year and a bit for him to decide to want to help people offhandedly.
So what, the first few episodes are just him kind of dicking people over?
Well, let's put it this way. He kidnaps the first companions. They don't want to come with him. He kidnaps them.
Really?
I mean, they get used to it and they really enjoy it.
They do.
That's a syndrome for that,
But I mean...
So if we bring up a picture of William Hartnell, there he is.
Hello, William. He's quite old.
Well, I mean, he was only in his early 50s.
Yeah, this is a Clive Dunn thing going on. People don't get that now. William Hartnell was reasonably middle-aged. He wasn't old. He was playing old.
He was meant to be almost like an educational figure for children. And so almost like a father, grandfatherly teacher kind of role, and they wanted to make the show.
And weirdly, I think, although obviously he's the title character that it's about, to an extent he's kind of not the viewpoint figure, is he? So it's the other characters are the ones who very much are our the eyes and ears of the audience.
Yeah. We really like Ian and Barbara, his companions, and they're the ones in a pickle, and he's actually called the pickle.
So to begin with, he's quite a prickly character. He doesn't really take to Ian and Barbara, these 2 school teachers who barge their way into his private life. We'll get to that in a bit as well. Yeah.
Okay.
We have some interesting elements that happen in those very early serials. He, at one point, picks up a rock and goes to, we assume, bludgeon an injured caveman because he's slowing down their escape to the TARDIS.
Wow.
And do you know why he meets the Daleks for the first time? Because they go to explore the city, they go away again, and he pretends that the bit of the TARDIS is missing, and they have to go back to the city to explore because they can't take off without it, but it's not actually true. He just wants to have a look.
Yeah.
That's what got us into all that Dalek mess in the first place.
Wow.
I think, to be fair, probably the Doctor's carried on being a bit of a liar ever since.
That's
not something which...
Selective of the truth, isn't he? Yeah. But I like the idea he's just going to bludgeon a caveman.
Yeah.
I look forward to that one.
Doesn't he hit someone over the head in the Reign of Terror?
Yeah, he does, with a spade.
Yeah, with a spade, he just fully whacks.
That is, again, I mean, when you're...
behind.
Yeah. How old is he, though, as a character at this point? Because Time Lords, obviously, they regenerate.
It's interesting that you keep referring to him as a Time Lord, because at this point in the series' life...
he's not a Lord.
Time Lord, that's not a thing.
All right.
Gallifrey, his home planet, not a thing.
All right.
He is just a person from another world... Another time. And we don't really know anything about his origins.
Is the TARDIS still a phone box?
TARDIS is still a phone box.
Okay.
So these are our companions.
Okay.
So we've got Ian and Barbara on the left and the right.
Okay.
They are school teachers. So this young lady, Susan.
How old is she meant to be?
She's meant to be 15.
15? How old is she?
I don't know how she would have been at the time.
I think Caroline Ford was about 24.
Yeah, I'd say she's definitely not 15.
She is the Doctor's granddaughter.
What?
Yeah.
So she's a Time Lord?
Well, I mean, this is a matter of contention, but
We never really find out.
So is it like, is she's the granddaughter, like no actual relation?
She acts very human as well. She's very...
Yeah, she certainly acts like a 15.
like a 15-year-old, and she's very, she spent a lot of time on Earth, so...
And how many episodes is she in?
She's in all of Hartnell's first season, and then she leaves during his second serial in his second season.
Yeah,
Dalek Invasion
about a
of Earth.
year she's around.
Yeah, it drastically changes his character when she leaves as well.
Yeah, he softens, I think. When
He softens
Susan
a
leaves.
lot.
I think it's interesting you were saying sort of prickly, because I think in a sense he softens between the pilot episode and the actual first episode that went out, because they remade the first episode because they thought he was too prickly and unlikable, and I think actually he very quickly is sort of giggling around and being much more lovable than.
But it's Dalek Invasion of Earth in just at the start of the second year, and that's the story where Susan leaves, where he says we have to pit our wits against the Daleks and defeat them. It's like I'm deliberately going to take action against something evil, and that's
The mission statement, really, isn't it, from then on,
Yeah, so for the first series, they're just sort of dossing around through space. He can't control the TARDIS.
No?
No, it just goes wherever it goes.
Okay.
He doesn't really call it the TARDIS that often. He refers to it as the ship.
And Susan made up the name TARDIS. It's not called the TARDIS, it's just called TARDIS.
Oh, really?
She chose that name for the ship.
So this is how we first meet the Doctor, in a junkyard in 1963. The two school teachers confused.
Why are they in a junkyard?
Well, that's where the TARDIS is parked.
No, but why are they in a junkyard?
They follow Susan to the TARDIS. They find it in a junkyard.
Because they think she's really
they're
an odd pupil,
Yeah,
don't
they're
they?
not really. Yeah, they're a bit confused as to why she's a bit odd. And,
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't
So
really seem to have a
they
home,
just follow
and they
her
don't
home.
understand. Yeah, so
Just
they
as
just
you would.
they're worried about her, I suppose, and
Yeah.
so they follow her home, and they see her go into that box, and they're like, "What's going on?"
I'm sorry, officer. We didn't know.
bit weird.
We were worried about her, so we followed her home. You know, as you would. I was concerned, so I followed her.
This old man has her locked up in a box.
Yeah, exactly.
Or so it looks.
Yeah. That is how it all began all those years ago.
That's amazing. I mean, to be honest with you, if I saw an old man leant up against a phone box in a junkyard, that would be the end of my adventure there. I'd be like, right, I'm turning around, job done. She's obviously troubled because she lives with an old man in a junkyard, in a box. You know, that's okay, cool, we'll get into social services tomorrow. It's already a bit weird for two teachers to have followed a kid home.
Well, rather wonderfully, the Doctor actually laughs at them on that basis. You go, well, do you assume she's in here? Look at the size of it. Of course not. And then they hear a voice from inside, and in one of the great shots of science fiction, Barbara just barges her way in because she's not having that. And she barges her way into a much bigger set.
So that is the original TARDIS set.
Wow.
But you can see, like, there's, even with the new Doctor Who, like the console in the centre, the six sides, the roundels on the walls. So all those icons, they still carry on throughout the 50 years.
Especially at the beginning of Doctor Who, it's very much about education and less sci-fi.
Yeah.
Because the guy that created the show literally said he didn't want any monsters or any, any sci-fi elements and stuff. It was to be educational. So
you say educational. So far, I don't think I've learned anything, obviously, from the summary stuff.
Yeah.
Were there like messages in there? Like
it's
at
all
the end?
it was all the time traveling. So they did like the Aztecs, the Romans. So it's teaching
Crusades.
Yeah, the Crusaders. So they were teaching about history and
so like now, if I was to say to you, there's a Doctor Who story, they go back in time to whenever, you'd think, oh, there's a monster in that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's going to be something going on. But
Not
back
in
then,
these, no.
The real monster was man himself.
Yeah, so the Aztecs,
very much so.
just the Aztecs.
They're going to kill her. But that's because they do ritual sacrifice, which is to appease their gods, of
Yeah,
which
yeah,
there
yeah.
are 7, or something like that. Yeah?
It's sort
Or
of...
is it literally like
It
just
is
start going-
like that. That
This
is
is interesting.
Yeah. So let's look at some monsters.
Okay, good. I like monsters.
So,
Oh, spooky.
Daleks.
Daleks.
The monsters that made the programme.
Really?
Yeah.
So up until, are they in the first episode?
They're in the second story.
okay,
so that's 5 weeks in. Well, actually, you don't actually see it until
6 weeks in.
6 weeks in. Yeah.
So was there a surge in viewership afterwards?
Yes.
When everyone was like, oh, you've got to watch it. They got these spooky
Because it was only supposed to
things.
run for 13 episodes.
Oh, really?
And then
okay.
they came along and it was like massive success.
And it was like,
and then
let's
it ran for
renew them.
26 years.
Wow. Yeah, they are. I don't know how spooky they are though. Like in
It's the
isolation.
movement more than anything.
Yeah.
So although you say nothing looked like it, wasn't it like the Georgian state dancers? They sort of
Yeah.
said because they'd sort of glide across the stage, and that's the kind of the sort of feel.
voices, yeah, as well.
Yes, which didn't come from the Georgian state dancers, but
And at this point, they're moving really a lot, and the sticks are poking out and poking at people, and they're spinning round interrogating people, and there's an awful lot of in-your-face shouting. They're like basically a little Nazi in its own little tank, being a toddler.
So actually, the Daleks nearly almost never happened because, as Beth was saying, Sidney Newman said no BEMs, bug-eyed monsters.
Okay.
And the producer, Verity Lambert, had to sort of argue that, no, this is a very good script from Terry Nation and it needs to be made. If it hadn't have happened, Doctor Who probably wouldn't be here today.
That'd probably have been just a real short run at the end of it.
That probably would have been it.
But we would have learned a bit about cavemen. Maybe we'd still be doing this. Who knows? It'd just be a much shorter series.
The colour one this time.
So the no bug-eyed monster thing was completely gone at this point. Ever since the Dalek success, they were like, I think we know what people want to see.
This is a really great episode because they have sort of hypnotised this group of people into thinking that they're living lives of luxury. But then we get these cutaways to Barbara, who starts to see that things aren't really as nice as everyone thinks. And actually everything is run down.
But there's some beautiful colour photography from this story, and actually you can often see, even though the series was black and white, just how much detail and beautiful, things like Marco Polo and the Aztecs, the beautiful sets.
Marco Polo, and it's a missing story as well, so obviously you can't watch Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Why can't we watch it?
So this is the thing, so as part of this marathon, there are going to be massive gaps.
Oh, really?
Because the BBC, in their infinite wisdom,
Thanks, BBC,
junked a load of Doctor Who.
So
and Tom is actually
so
wearing
many of
this
them
T-shirt.
were lost forever. Although some of them have come back.
Found.
So why did they? This one
survived.
This one survived, but Marco Polo you chatted about.
Yeah.
Why did that go? Has it got a lot of kind of questionable content? Is it of a time?
Well, they wiped them all. This is the thing. It wasn't like they decided
choose.
every single episode from the 1960s was wiped. The original master tapes.
Oh, they literally
because they were expensive. They reused the tape to put on next week's episode.
They basically just taped over them.
Yeah, they never thought people would want to watch it again.
If Doctor Who had never been sold to other countries abroad, that was the point of making copies, that they were going to sell them and so they could be shown in Australia and all around the world. So it's only because of those copies that we have the sort of film recordings.
And are there any bootleg? Like, was it just no one had VHSs back then? I don't know.
Some lovely people plugged audio recorders into their televisions, and we have the soundtracks of everything.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. So the Marco Polo stuff you can listen to.
You can listen to it.
Yeah,
You just can't
Yeah,
watch
they were
it.
also written into books as well, with like more details and different plot points.
Using the
added.
original script.
Using the original script. So they're all novelised into
We're
the
actually
books as well.
very lucky with Doctor Who because some 60s television really is properly lost. There's no scripts, there's no soundtrack, there's no pictures, there's no telesnaps, which are basically little photographs of what the images were from the TV screen. There is a way we can experience them, but
there's some way to fill in the gaps.
So if we skip on to our next monster,
Mothra. I've seen this.
That's amazing. You look at that and you just say Mothra. You know what it's really called?
Who is it?
Menoptera.
Okay.
So close.
So who is it?
So they're from the planet Vortis. They're butterfly people.
Okay.
Now, I think this is the only Doctor Who story which, other than the Doctor and the companions, has no humanoid characters.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're played by humanoid actors.
They are clearly people.
Might be able to tell. But it's very, very ambitious, and I don't think in that respect, Doctor Who's ever been quite as ambitious as that ever again. To have, because you've also got
If we go on to the next slide. So this same story has another race of aliens.
Oh, these are amazing. So they're ants. Giant ants with legs.
Yep.
And extra legs that probably don't move.
They don't move.
No. That's good.
These are the Zarbi.
The Zarbi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're controlled by
a hive mind or something, is it?
Well, there's this malevolent force called the Animus, which is like a giant spider creature that lives at the centre of the planet. Oh, now this is ignore the legs. This is the only picture I could get of a Varga plant.
Oh, it's a plant, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
from the planet Skaro.
So it's like a cactus and a wig.
Now this is, again, a story that doesn't exist, sadly.
Okay.
But these are really quite scary because if you get pricked by one of those thorns, you begin to turn into one of these plants. And
see that poor chap there is obviously 90% there, isn't he?
Yeah. So he's
just his legs to go.
When you start turning into one of these things, your overriding thought is just to kill.
Wow.
And in the surviving audio that we have from Mission to the Unknown, it's quite eerie to hear the voice of the character becoming one of these things, just going, kill, kill, kill. And you sort of think, my God, the 60s.
So they become a bit zombie-like then. So they're still human at that point.
Yeah,
but
and
then
they
just
slowly
wanna,
metamorphosize into one of these things. And they're used by the Daleks, because it comes from the Daleks' own planet.
I love the fact this is a behind-the-scenes shot. So these are two poor designers or special effects guys who are obviously going, no, get it bit that way,
She
no,
looks
bit that
done
way.
with that.
Is this the sort of first instance of a Doctor Who monster where you might turn into them? Because this is a kind of a recurring thing with quite a few monsters, you know, like the later on Krynoids and I suppose the Cybermen in a way, which I've always found a really, really horrible idea that you will be sort of possessed and taken over and become the monster.
Wow. I've seen Monsters, Inc. I haven't seen Monsters University, so I'm guessing this is from that. So they've got an eye and then a gun.
Yeah.
And amazing hair, though. I mean, that's, again, very of the time, isn't it?
Very, very Beatles.
Yeah.
Big Beatles fans. These are the monoids.
Okay.
They don't have names, they're just numbered.
Oh, I see, 1 and 3.
Yep.
Okay.
They can't talk because they've got eyeballs in their mouths. So
Okay.
those collars create the voice for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is our last monster. Now, you must know what this is.
Yeah, that's a Cyberman. There you go. Different from kind of the newer versions, but I guess it's the nature of them as they upgrade themselves. Wow, I mean, it's beautiful. Is this the first ever
This
Cyberman?
is the first time we ever see the
But
Cyberman.
in the narrative, is this the first one? Because he looks
This is
pretty
the earliest Cyberman.
ramshackle. Yeah, that is crazy. And so he's got a respirator attached to him.
Yeah.
But what does he want to do? Why is he a bad?
So they come from the twin planet Mondas, which was part of our solar system, and then went off on a journey to the edge of space. Came back, their energy resources are depleted, they're dying out, they've started to change their bodies so that they can survive, and they want to drain the energy from Earth to make Mondas whole again.
Okay.
Take all the people from Earth, turn them into Cybermen, and then go off on their way. I mean, luckily, the Doctor defeats them.
Spoilers.
Well, I say he defeats
Spoilers.
them. Well, we won't be seeing this episode.
Oh, really? Is this a lost
unfortunately.
episode as well?
Well, the last part of this 4-part serial is lost.
You're kidding, literally. What a cliffhanger.
So we don't see what happens to
don't
the
know
Cybermen,
actually what
and we
happens.
don't see the first Doctor regenerate, but we do have surviving footage of that. So
Okay.
we
So
can
of the
see that.
key scene, someone taped it somewhere.
Yeah, so that still survives.
Wow.
That was Blue Peter, thanks to good old Blue Peter.
Was it really?
That they retained that
little
particular
clip.
clip, so we
Wow.
can watch that over and over.
I think that's it for the Hartnell era.
Oh.
Next up is the second Doctor, Patrick
Second
Troughton.
Okay. Well, we will see.
Even less of his Doctor Who survives.
Wow. Well, again, I'm less hyped now. Let's forget that. Okay. Who knows how much we'll see of the next Doctor? Enjoy this Doctor. We're going to watch through all of them, and then we'll see you for the following Doctor, of which we may see 4 episodes or so.